Ian Kane, and it's Tuesday, August the 9th today. It's a really special week over at DappRadar as we spend the whole week celebrating the hottest Dapp games of summer 2022. So every day I'm here, we're chatting with different projects at 3 p.m. UTC, and we're live. And each one has its exclusive competition and giveaway in conjunction with DappRadar. So today I'm joined by Stacey Neal. She's the communications manager at the leading gaming metaverse platform Alien Worlds. And we're going to discuss the evolution of Alien Worlds, all the hottest updates, and lots more. How are you doing today, Stacey? Are you good?
Hi, Ian. Yes, I'm well, thanks. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
Our pleasure entirely. So as I say, if you want to tuck into some free TLM tokens, then we've got an exclusive competition running and you could be a lucky winner. We're giving away $2,000 worth of free TLM tokens to 200 winners. And those winners will be announced on the 15th of August. So what you can do is the link will be scrolling now. There it is. So if you head on over there, answer a really simple, and I mean it, simple question. And if you listen carefully, you'll probably find the answer in today's session. So head over there, enter the competition, super easy, and spread the word about our DappDays events. So just to give everyone a little 411 on Alien Worlds, it's an NFT metaverse game on Wax and BNB chain. And in Alien Worlds, players compete for scarce resources, including NFTs, in-game tokens, and TLM serves as the in-game currency. But that's enough out of me for today. Let's dive right in and talk to Stacey. So, as I always do, Stacey, I want to go back a little bit before we start talking about Alien Worlds, and I want you to introduce yourself to us and tell us about your journey into this kind of crazy blockchain world and how you've ended up working with Alien Worlds.
Sure, thanks. Yeah. How I ended up working with Alien Worlds, well, I became a part of the project relatively early on, probably within the first few months of it launching. So, in this world, a year or even a year and a half is a long time in the crypto
Yeah.
space, and certainly so much has happened. Prior to that, though, I would say my most recent entry into the space was I was actually creating NFTs in late 2020 for fun. I was using them to gift to some patrons who purchased artwork of mine. And I had a friend who knew a lot about it and had shared with me just all the different things that could be done with NFTs. And so that just got me excited and I wanted to play with it. And I also started writing about my experiences and posting it on social media. And it actually got picked up by a few different companies and organizations that were curious to learn more because this was still rather early.
Yeah.
And so I started writing about my experiences and for different companies such as Strathmore Artist, for instance. And one of the things that I did write about was this idea that NFTs weren't just art collectibles, but that they could also have utility. And I was familiar with Alien Worlds at that time, and they were getting ready to launch the game. So this was prior to the launch in late 2020. And I started writing about Alien Worlds, about Wax, about Atomic, and just using their tools to create NFTs, and also just, Alien Worlds is an example of using NFTs with utility.
Yeah.
And then I happened to have a friend of a friend who was working closely with the group very early on. And as you guys all well know, we were expanding very quickly. And so they reached out to see if anybody would be interested to be a part of the project. And that's when I joined. So it was serendipitous that happened.
Nice. Very organic as well, Stacey. Sounds like you were already well inside the rabbit hole before any of the kind of Alien World stuff happened. You'd already dived right in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's great, though. That's great. And then just kind of through your hard work and efforts. And a lot of it works like that in Web3, I find that people are kind of putting in the work in the background before they get noticed, but it all counts. So that's a really cool journey. Thanks for telling us about where you've come from. And now we're going to get into what we're doing. So first of all, though, and you touched on it there, Alien Worlds, and we can safely say in the blockchain space, Alien Worlds is an OG game. It's been around long enough in this industry that we can call it an OG title. So what I want to do is I want to show the theatrical trailer that you guys dropped out there. It was about 8 months ago, I think, just to kind of set the scene, give everyone a visual about what we're about to talk about. So gonna throw this.
Sure.
Yeah, let's check this out. It's got a very Stranger Things vibe as well, which I like as well.
Pandemics raged across the planet. Humankind desperately searched for an escape. A ray of hope came from the Federation, the world's most advanced Bitcoin mining community. Engineers analyzing the algorithms discovered patterns of hidden messages sent from an unknown civilization far from their known universe. Once deciphered, these messages formed a map leading them to a wormhole and the chance of salvation. A brave crew of volunteers ventured into the wormhole and were catapulted to a distant metaverse. Within this interstellar network, the pioneers discovered exoplanets that were inhabitable and began to build a new civilization. The pioneers strove to build a new fair economy. Everything was tokenized, from the tools and weapons they forged, to the land they claimed, and their avatars that walked it. More explorers arrived at the frontier to seek their fortunes in Trillium. Some became landlords, renting space for construction projects and entrepreneurs. Others extracted Trillium from deep within the mines. The bravest adventurers competed in quests for hidden treasures. The Federation sent supplies to support their heroes. And today, 6 planets stand at the frontier of the new Federation of Alien Worlds. Untold riches are waiting in the prospering metaverse, where real and virtual worlds collide. How will you make your fortune?
Whoa, it's like super theatrical. I really love that. So yeah, I wanted to put that out there just so everyone gets kind of visual idea. But now, Stacey, you're kind of going to have to break down what we just watched. So can you tell us a little bit? What is Alien Worlds? What is it all about? What's the goal of the game? What do players do in Alien Worlds? Stacey, you're on silent.
Thank you. Right now, we have a couple of games that are currently live, and we have some exciting developments to come soon as well. One of the games is the mining game, which was released in late 2020, and that's on Wax. And another one of our games is Missions, which is on BNB Chain, and that came out, I believe, in April 2021. With the mining game, what you're doing is you are mining. The narrative is that you're on one of these alien worlds planets that has this scarce resource called Trillium, which is our in-game fungible token. And miners basically come in, they choose a plot of land, which is actually owned by the players as well. So the players who own that land get a commission when other players come and mine on it. And you come and mine this scarce resource, Trillium. And while you're mining this scarce resource in our game, you're also mining cryptocurrency. So it's kind of, you're also passively learning about some aspects of blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, things like that. And that was definitely intentional. With the missions game, you can basically stake some of your Trillium to go on missions. And in return, after a certain period of time, there's varied lengths for each mission. When you return, you get Trillium and NFTs as a reward. And so you can also get NFTs in the mining game as well through our new NFT point system. We used to have NFT mining. What we have now is very similar. You have NFT points. You accrue those NFT points by using NFTs that have NFT power when you're mining. And then you accrue a bunch of points, redeem them for NFTs. We have different seasons of NFTs where certain ones become available. And yeah, that's a relatively recent kind of update to the original NFT mining. And very soon we'll be having our DAOs become live, which our DAOs have technically been active this whole time because they've been accruing treasuries of resources and tokens since the launch of the game. And pretty soon we will be inviting the public, the players, the communities to come in and run for governance, run to manage the Planetary DAO resources. And those are using the tools that Decoco, the company that published Alien Worlds, and Alien Worlds themselves have provided. So it's a very dynamic space. We are a metaverse. We're an NFT metaverse. We're a DAO metaverse. We're a token metaverse, and yeah, very excited to see what comes ahead with the DAOs as well.
Yeah, that's a very cool feature that we'll dive into a little bit later, because each one, I've got a few questions around that I wanted to ask you as well. But just talking about the accessibility side of things there as well, Stacey, because you mentioned BNB chain and you mentioned Wax as well. So originally Alien Worlds launched on Wax, is that correct? And then it was later expanded over to BNB chain. Can you tell us a little bit about why you launched on Wax? Is it to do with kind of user onboarding? You know, what was the appeal with Wax? And then how come the BNB chain kind of relationships come around as well? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, so just as you said, with Wax, we had easy onboarding, and that was something that was very important since Alien Worlds is a free to play game. We wanted to limit the barriers of entries for players, not only for existing players who were familiar with the game, but maybe even non-blockchain,
Yeah.
proficient players who might want to come. And that's something that I think we're dealing with in the broader ecosystem as well, is lowering those barriers of entry for individuals who are curious about this space to come in and be a part of it. So that's definitely one of the reasons why we chose Wax.
Yeah.
Wax was able to handle all of our over 11 million NFTs that we have in the game. And they were just a great chain for a number of reasons, but certainly one of the primary ones was easy onboarding and low barriers of entry for new players. And
Okay.
then similarly with the BNB chain, they have a great large community, and the barriers of entry were relatively low there as well. And we have our teleporting system that we've created that allows you to go back and forth from BNB to Wax space to Trillium to make playing in the mining game and playing in missions games more seamless. So those definitely worked synchronistically together, and right now we have a nice harmony going on with those chains, and certainly those are some of the reasons why we chose those.
Beautiful. So like those lower costs as well. And the onboarding, the reason I ask it is because in this space, we do see this is a big challenge at the moment, right? Like user onboarding in blockchain can be pretty difficult. So I think the Wax system, the cloud wallet, they even allow social logins, right? You can just log in with your previous Facebook and other accounts. It's super easy. So I get that totally. But and it's worked obviously as well, Stacey. Like things are going very well for Alien World. So they were good choices, definitely. I want to touch on some like really recent news, because even today I saw some hot news coming out. So a couple of things happening that I want to dive into. But the thing that I saw today, which I'm sure you guys are quite excited about, is this partnership with Zilliqa. An esports partnership, promoting esports. So I'm a bit of a headline binger. So please tell me a little bit more about this whole relationship and what's happening here with Zilliqa.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we're very excited about this recent partnership. And basically, some of the main ideas behind that are we want to onboard some of the esports teams that Zilliqa has. For instance, there's a Ninjas in Pajamas is one of them. And basically, we want to welcome non-Web3, some like more traditional games and teams to come aboard our ecosystem. And we want to help support basically that transition into this Web3 space to see what's possible. With our DAOs specifically, because our DAOs are actually game components and they're in competition with one another, that actually kind of welcomes that competitive spirit. And we want to open ourselves up to non-traditional, or non-Web3 rather, more traditional games and platforms and things like that to come and be a part of it and connect in with us and see the ways that Web3 can leverage these Web2 and non-blockchain platforms and games and teams and things like that. So it all kind of, it's within the competitive nature that makes it accessible and applicable and hopefully intriguing for these groups to come aboard. And then we'll help educate on, how to transition over, how to leverage this technology, and hopefully continue that trend of bringing in new communities from outside of the blockchain space. So that's part of what we're doing with Zilliqa and with some of their teams.
That's really cool. So it's kind of like a bit of a marketing thing as well, in terms of kind of acquiring users and kind of connecting alien worlds with Zilliqa and letting people know what's possible there as well. It's very cool. When I saw it today, I was like, whoa, conveniently on the day that we're doing our live AMA. Very nice. So that's,
Awesome.
yeah, it's very cool. So, all right. So that's just at the beginning, right? That's just been announced today. So I'm sure some more information will be flowing about this in the future. I'm guessing that people can just check on Twitter to find out more about this as it unravels, right?
Absolutely. Or our Telegram and Discord channels. We have those staffed 24/7 as well. So if you hop in and you have any questions about any headlines you've seen or even how to play the game and things like that, there's always support for you there as well. Certainly our Twitter is a great resource also.
Nice. Okay, cool. So cleared that one up. And then around, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I saw another article that you guys had put out about JR Land's Metaverse Circus event. And from what I gathered, this was a guy or girl that was basically quite a big deal in alien worlds and had collected up quite a lot of lands. And then it looked, again, headline binging, it looked like this person was now rewarding players with their lands. What's going on here? Who is this person and why are they being so nice?
Yeah, so one of the things that I love so much about Alien Worlds is the community that is formed around Alien Worlds from the beginning. And JR is one of Alien Worlds' largest landowners, and something that has been happening pretty much since the launch of the mining game in late 2020 is community members have shown interest in hosting events of their own, landowners hosting events where they invite players to come and mine on their land, and they reward players in addition to what players get awarded with already just by mining and
Nice.
getting trillium. But some landowners and other players will reward people who mine in a certain area or during a certain period of time with NFTs, and that could be their own NFTs that they create. So in this instance, that's what JR's done. JR has been a devoted community member and landowner for a very long time in the game. And JR wanted to host an event to celebrate players and to reward players for mining on his lands. And that's one of the many examples that we have of the community coming in and wanting to give back to players, wanting to share the wealth, the fun, all the
Yeah.
different things like that. And it's something that I love about Alien Worlds is watching community members come in and do this, and we definitely welcome that and support that wholeheartedly. And that was part of certainly part of the spirit of this whole thing is this idea of being a little decentralized and having open architecture and things like that. We really welcome the community to come in and expand our metaverse with their own ideas of what's fun and what's of value to them. And JR is a fabulous example of that happening, and that is currently live. So there will be another number of opportunities to get additional rewards in the game by mining on JR's lands. And you could check out our Medium for an article that goes into more detail about that as well.
It's super cool, and I guess it again, like you said, the community vibe of the game. This is absolutely what you want, isn't it? It's like a game within a game. You've got your work that's happening here, and then you've got these community members who are actually like part of your team, who are building out experiences inside Alien Worlds. I mean, do you think one day, Stacey, this is a bit of a random thought, but do you think one day it will just be like a handover to the community, like you guys have got this? Do you think that's something that might happen in the future? Not
Well,
totally,
I wouldn't.
but
Well, I honestly, in this, because Dakoko, again, the publishers of Alien Worlds,
Hmm.
they're early architects in DAC and DAO software, so decentralized autonomous organizations and communities. And so, at the spirit of all this is definitely embracing the community and providing tools that don't obstruct a player's ability to interact and expand
Yeah,
and create their own value in a game, but actually it welcomes them to, it ushers them in to come and think of ways that they want to be a part of this and to make it
yeah,
special for them. And that really is a huge goal of ours, which is, we want to create the tools and the foundation for the players to come and see what's possible with this technology and in this space. But really, we want to see what the players want to see,
yeah.
and we want to be able to help them create that for themselves as well. So yeah,
Cool.
I can imagine that more of that uh, will be in the future.
It's very cool. It's very cool. And just along those same lines as well about building inside alien worlds. And another thing that I saw was the Galactic Hubs grant program, which sounds amazing. Like you're going to pay for me to build a spaceship. So I really want to know, I really want to know a bit more about this. And what's this all about? What are you trying to kind of nurture here with this?
Certainly. Well, this is a very dynamic project and offer. And Ian, if you wanted to come in and build a spaceship, you absolutely could. You just have to apply
Yes.
for a Galactic Hubs grant and have it
Awesome.
reviewed. Yes, absolutely. So that's really, again, a part of this whole spirit of
Right.
embracing the community is we want to help support community members who want to come into our ecosystem, our metaverse, and develop something that extends it or improves it or leverages it in some way. And really, it's up to the community members, whatever that may be. So we have a series of different grants that we basically are resourcing community ideas for how to expand and make more robust the alien world's metaverse and ecosystem. And so that's exactly what we're doing. We want to be able to support that and to help supplement that and resource that. So that's exactly what's happening with Galactic Hubs. We're really excited about it.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to be able to resource and support community members' ideas and have something tangible come out of it, have something that's potentially built, or there's a number of wonderful ideas that have come through so far. And even, we definitely welcome the creative spirit as well, because that's in the nature of all of this technology is, a lot of this technology people see as the future, but we're all in this space now. And
Yeah.
so kind of along those lines, if you have a far out idea that is potentially possible, you can come and try your hand at having us help you do it. And if you have something that you're totally solid on that you just need some help with as well, this is a place where you can come and do that. So we're really excited to see what comes from this, and we're really excited to see how Galactic Hubs continues to develop.
It's really cool. It's a very cool program, and it kind of piqued my interest as well. And I'm guessing it's more than just grants because people, it's more about you guys nurturing and kind of helping these people realize what it is that they've come with as well. I mean, do you ever get, I mean, you kind of said it there. Do you ever get times where people make these submissions and you read them and you think, damn, why didn't we think about this? Like, this is genius. Do you ever get things like that where you're just like, I mean, it's an amazing thing, obviously, but does it happen often?
Well, I would say that, yeah, we are continually impressed and excited to see what the community members put forth as something that is of value to them, that they are interested in pursuing. And it shows us, it's like a soundboard for us to see that we are creating a space, we are providing tools and a foundation for our players and for interested parties to come in and want to connect. And the fact that they want to connect and expand the ecosystem is a really good sign that the tools that we're creating and the space that we've provided to do that in is fostering that kind of ingenuity, entrepreneurialism, and all of that. And we embrace all of that, we celebrate all that, and we want to support all of that. And that's definitely part of what Galactic Hubs is all about.
Nice. So Galactic Hubs is now open and people can start to submit things towards that. How do people do that then? What's the process there?
Certainly. Well, we have a website which I'd be happy to share after this, and we will certainly have that information again available in our Telegram and Discord channels. We have a website that you could go to, and the application you'll be able to apply through there, and you kind of select. There are a few different things depending on what you want to do, how you might structure that, but it's pretty straightforward as far as a proposal goes. You just kind of create a basic proposal that shares what your ideas are, a little bit of the timeline, what you would need to execute that and facilitate that, and then it gets reviewed. And then once it's reviewed, that's when we start helping to resource and helping to undertake those projects. So it's a pretty straightforward application process. The application window right now is still currently open, and then we will have future ones as well.
Nice. Okay, so this is like a first batch. So I think I've put up the correct website that people need to head to on the ticker there. It's Galactic Hubs. So
Great.
G Hub.
Yes.
Is that right? Yep. Okay, cool. So if people are interested in that, just head over to there and you can do an application there, as Stacey said. So, all right, cool. Okie dokie. So we've mentioned these DAOs quite a few times, these planets. I think we need to kind of dive into this and explain. So you've got each planet in Alien Worlds is a DAO, and we've spoken about a competitive nature between these DAOs. So tell us a little bit about the structure. And you said they were there from the beginning, but now they're becoming live. So talk us through this a little bit.
Sure. Yes. So basically, once the Alien Worlds mining game launched, all of the planets, the 6 planets, so that doesn't include the planet that the missions, B&B missions are on, but all of the other ones are each a decentralized autonomous organization. And they've been live technically since the start of the game in the sense that they've been accruing these planetary treasuries. But the next kind of major development and unraveling of all this is to invite the community to come and take it over essentially. But we are, as far as we are aware, we are the first blockchain game to ever put DAOs actually as game components, as game pieces in a game. And within that game, they can both compete with one another, which they very much so are, because the amount of people staking to a planet to become a member and vote, or even the amount of people mining on the land of that planet will affect the treasuries that are accrued. So there is that competitive nature for the scarce resource, and certainly will in the future probably be for other resources as well. And they can compete with one another, but I also like to remember that if they want to, they can also collaborate with one another, which is a very interesting kind of social experiment that I don't think we've quite seen in this way. And that was a very intentional, very special part of this project. And so a lot of the games that we have right now, so the mining game, the missions game, a lot of the activities and things that players are doing on a regular basis, mining crypto, staking their tokens, getting NFTs with utility, and actually using those NFTs in strategic ways. Those are all things that are also passively educating our players and our communities on how to interact with these DAOs. So certainly education is going to be a huge part of it as well. But the idea is that each one of these DAOs very soon will become available for players to come and decide that they want to be somebody who manages that. They want to be a custodian on this DAO. And they can do that through a governance, through our governance, where you come and you run. And then other players who want to be a part of this community as well can stake their Trillium. They get a planetary token in return, depending on which planet they are for that respective planet. And that gives them voting power. So that gives them stake weighted voting power. And that is essentially how the council members or custodians of each DAO are elected to manage it. Once that happens, they have the treasuries at their fingertips. They can all decide as a community how they want to allocate those resources. That could be giving back to the community of that DAO, all the players that are on that DAO. It could be to actually resource something in real life that's tangible. It's really entirely up to the community what they do. And again, we've been building these tools to support this kind of decentralized governance. So we've been building the tools for these decentralized consensus mechanisms that allow the community to completely separately from alien worlds, as far as us as building the tools and sharing the tools, they get to now take those tools and support their own efforts and support what they want to do with it. So it's somewhat of a new concept. Many people have heard of DAOs, usually managing like an organization's or a company's store of value and resources and things like that. And we're taking them, and they also do that, but we're taking them and putting them into a game. So we're gamifying them. And we're very excited to see what happens there.
Yeah, it
And
goes.
yeah.
I mean, like, arguably, that's kind of this could be that moment that we just kind of spoke about where you're handing over to the players, as it were, because like you say, they're kind of distancing themselves from the alien worlds kind of game, I guess, and they're kind of off on their own journey, making their own experiences and this is truly going to be there. So arguably, again, like Alien Worlds is just about to kick off, really, like in terms of its the sky's the limit, it feels like, of what these people could do. And so just from a basic premise as well, so if you want to become part of one of these planets, I'm presuming that you stake some TLM, and then you get a different token in reverse for that, so that you can participate in votes. Is that right? Is it straightforward like that,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, you
All
nailed
right.
it.
Okay, cool. So nice. I mean, a lot of the time we talk about these things, and then I'm like, I just need to break it down just to make sure that everyone's got it. It's fairly straightforward.
Absolutely. We'll help
That's
break
it.
it down for everyone as well too along the way.
That's it, right? Like, and you guys do a great job, because I've seen on your YouTube and other things, you've got some really good educational content there as well. You know, you understand that you've got to teach people the basics, and then all the way up to get more complex as well. And I suppose, like,
Absolutely.
we're talking about game modes and things like that, and we heard some rumors a while ago, it wasn't too long ago, about like a PvP mode, like a player versus player mode, and Thunderdome. That was what was spoken about. So I was just wondering, any updates on the Thunderdome, or what's happening with that? That sounded super cool.
Yeah, that is a future roadmap development that we're
Mhm.
certainly working on. Right now, we're really putting the emphasis on the DAOs because that is certainly at the heart of this whole experience. They're a major component in all of this. So we're really building up momentum and enthusiasm and awareness and education for that right now. But certainly, the PvP game will be coming in the future, and that will be an awesome opportunity to utilize some new types of NFTs to fight in that game. And so that is definitely a future development. It is being
Cool.
worked on. We are trying to put the focus and emphasis certainly on the DAOs because it is such a dynamic aspect of the project.
Yeah.
It does require a lot of education because it's relatively new for a lot of people. Some aspects of it can be rather abstruse. So we're really putting our heart and souls into the DAOs right now. But certainly we hear the cries off in the distance for the fighting game, and we are just as excited as the community to share that with you all as well. But we really invite you all to come and be curious and
Yeah.
hopefully inspired to take part in this governance aspect of it as well. And who knows, there might even be a connection between what happens on the DAOs and what happens in future games that we develop and release under the Alien Worlds metaverse umbrella.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Like, it's a great time actually to kind of jump in now and play a role, isn't it? Rather than kind of just sitting on the sidelines as well. I mean, so I've been looking at Alien Worlds for such a long time. It feels like a long time. We said it at the beginning. A couple of years is veteran status, right? So I just and it leads me to ask questions. You know, how far does the team want to go? The team, I guess I'm referring to, in regards to the game and Alien Worlds. Like, potentially, will we see like 3D characters walking around, or 3D planets, or will gameplay remain around the kind of NFTs and the cards? Like, what were you guys thinking about that kind of stuff?
Well, what we're very excited about, and as I've mentioned already, as far as the community coming in and
Mm.
helping to realize what this can become, certainly that's a very intentional aspect of this project that we want to facilitate. So certainly in that way, the future possibilities are endless when you
Yeah,
think about bringing in not only just the Alien Worlds team, but bringing in the Alien Worlds community members to come and basically build alongside us as this goes. And that adds a very interesting and we think exciting element to all of this, which is when it does blossom, when certain things come to fruition, it's not just our team's vision coming to
yeah,
fruition, but it's kind of an aggregated vision with the team and the tools that we want to build, but also the vision and the spirit of our community members as well. So that's one way in which I think that the possibilities truly are endless as far as where this goes. And we certainly don't want to be too strict or narrow as far as in thinking about where that can go. So we're certainly opening it up to the community to help us decide those things. In
right,
addition to that, I think part of what will really support the longevity of our and many other projects is this idea of interoperability and being able to connect with other metaverse projects potentially, and like you said, potentially share other assets, either
Yeah.
whether they're Web3 or they're from a different game. And so the publishers of Alien Worlds, Coco, have and Alien Worlds have collaborated with several other metaverse kind of Web3 platforms called the Open Metaverse Alliance. If you've heard of it, it's also termed OMA3 or OMA3. And this is a relatively new announcement and development, but the whole idea is interoperability between platforms working on helping to kind of define what that could look like, what's possible there. And we're partnering with, other major projects, the Sandbox, Animoca Brands, many others, to come together and not just as one single project, think about this, but as an entire ecosystem of
Yeah.
projects that could potentially, because of the technology, be able to connect in those ways. So I would say it's very possible that at some
Yeah.
point, different game assets can come and be used somewhere in our metaverse. We're very excited about the possibilities there as well. So there's like the community coming in and helping this, and then there's the major platform leaders coming together and thinking about how they can make this whole space more interoperable. So yeah, a lot of exciting
Yeah.
things to come there.
It's very cool to hear that people are going to start putting their heads together a little bit more rather than acting in silos, right? Because I think
Absolutely.
we hear this interoperability and kind of the metaverses all bounding together. We do hear this a lot, but I fear sometimes that it's people are talking about it, but perhaps nothing much is actually happening because the projects are not actually they're kind of expecting it just to develop on its own a little bit. So it's amazing to hear that people are actually sitting in the same room, getting their heads together and starting to, as you said correctly, how far can we take this? What's possible here? Not, shall we just dream and talk about it? So that's very cool. That's very cool. All right, I think you nailed that question because it was a bit of a tricky one and I just threw it in there. So, okay. So we're in a bit of I'm going to call it a bit of a downtrend, shall I say. Prices are down a little bit. There's a little bit of negativity floating around, but I think for companies like ours, this is good stuff. This is a time for building. This is a time for focus. This is a time to get your head down and really focus on what it is that we're trying to do over the next few years. So in regards to that, and I know that you're in the marketing department, so what are the plans to kind of maintain, not just maintain, but grow Alien Worlds over these next important kind of 6 to 12 months? We've seen dapps come and go very quickly. Weak tokenomics is a big cause of that. Talk to us a little bit, Stacey, about the plans that Alien Worlds has to make sure that there's some sustainability here.
Certainly. Well, you touched on a lot of things that are happening in the space right now. And one of the things I would say is certainly we are encountering this bear market. But one of the great things about blockchain gaming is it's remained rather strong
It has.
in this space right now, which is wonderful. And I think one of the reasons why that is because these games are not just all about crypto, right? Like crypto is the fuel for some of the
Yeah.
transactions that occur, so to speak, but there's an entire ecosystem, an entire project, an entire series of activities and engagement and other forms of transactions that occur. And I think that helps keep the space rather strong with these types of things that are happening. And also, I like to look at these types of times as actually times of opportunity, because if you think about it, if we are looking at something like the market, which generally speaking, we don't pay a ton of attention to because we want to be supporting our community members regardless of what's happening and
Yeah.
encouraging them and helping to support them, of course. But if you think about it, if a token price is low, for instance, I think that actually makes things more accessible because
Yeah.
certain transactions are actually, might take fewer resources. And so it actually could be a time where it opens it up for people to come in who may not have felt, for whatever reason, that it was as accessible to them to do so. So it's kind
Yeah.
of trying to look at the flip side of these
Yeah.
types of
Positives, right?
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly we're affected by those types of trends, and we're
Yeah.
very aware of what's happening and how that does affect things. But certainly we try to put it into a much broader context where that's really only one small part of what's
Yeah.
happening. But to your question, how do you kind of keep things robust? How do we fortify our projects? Well, as I just mentioned, the interoperability aspect is a way to really connect with other projects in a way where we can all help lift each other up. Someone's, strength and progress and success can actually help some of the other projects that they might be connected to in the ecosystem. It's a little bit of the rising tide, lifts
Yeah.
all boats type of
Yeah.
concept. And certainly this interoperable aspect, you're strengthening every project that you connect with when you're learning how to connect that technology, potentially connect those IPs and various other things. I think that's one of the ways that we can fortify our projects and fortify this ecosystem is those connections amongst projects. And then certainly within the game, we're always trying to think of ways to not have some of the issues that you're talking about with tokenomics that have occurred in the past. And
Yeah.
so, we do try to find creative ways to keep that in check. And we have, some of the ways that we do that, or we have such as our shining, which is where you can combine our NFTs into another NFT. And that is essentially burning those NFTs. And then so there are ways that we try to bring things out and bring new things into the ecosystem so that it's not just all growing and growing and growing. And pretty
Yeah.
soon, the value that's attached to an asset, for instance, might become flooded or something like that. So certainly there are mechanisms in play like that. And then also, outside of the project, connecting with other projects. And again, inviting the community to come in. What they can bring to the table is very valuable, and definitely I think helps with the vitality of a project when you allow that to happen, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a couple of really strong points there, Stacey. I think like arguably if you're mining, as you perhaps would do in alien worlds over time, mining a token of lower value, pretty good idea, right? Like you can mine that token now and hopefully and speculate on that for the future. It's kind of a good time to play games. And I think absolutely going to support you in what you're saying about games. We've been saying it all year and all the way through last year as well, almost, that blockchain gaming is kind of leading the industry right now, that a lot of the interactions with the blockchain seen through humans is through gaming. And it's really kind of nice as well to talk about players and to talk about things away from the financial side, like you said, of the crypto, the investment side of it, to talk about players having fun, not people making money. And it's kind of nice, right, to talk about gaming for a change in its real form. And then also just to kind of say, like, the sustaining thing, it's a tricky question because sustaining it is not easy. So it's like you've got many levers, right? And you've just kind of constantly kind of tweaking and ushering and moving to make things happen. So for the people listening, it's a lot of the time we get these questions all the time, and it's like you have to have a little bit of patience as well, and a little bit of kind of understanding with is you can't just solve things so quickly, because you could cause a domino effect by trying to solve one thing. You could end up breaking something else. So just to kind of back you up there as well, I think a little bit of patience is required in our space sometimes, right?
Yes, certainly can't hurt.
No, that's it, right? All right, very cool, very cool. Thank you for that. So, I mean, what else can we get into? I wanted to talk about the future roadmap a little bit, but I think we've kind of nailed all of that stuff as well. Is there anything, Stacey, that we haven't spoken about today that you're like, I need to get this out about Alien Worlds today? Or have we covered everything, do you think?
Well, we have covered a lot, and I know that we've touched on the DAOs already, but I will say that personally, and certainly us as a team and a project, we're really excited about what's going to happen here, because This has been a part of our roadmap from the beginning. It was part of the impetus for Alien Worlds to even exist. And in the spirit of decentralized communities, in the spirit of educating individuals on blockchain technology, the DAOs are really going to embody some
Yeah.
of what I'm most excited about as far as this Web3 space goes and what's possible with regard to utilizing this technology to leverage existing, games, projects, ecosystems, but also to show something that I don't think has quite ever really been shown before, quite in this way. And so this idea, I don't blame anybody for not knowing much about DAOs, for instance, because they are a relatively new concept to most
Mhm.
people. And then to say that we have them in this game, and that can get a little confusing. And so I just want to let everyone know that we are putting a lot of effort into not only revving up to invite our community to come and take over these vast treasuries that each planet has, but also to educate people just in the space in general about DAOs in general, like the mechanisms that underlie them, what's possible with them, which I personally think is quite profound. The ways in which it can touch existing organizations, companies, communities, and even society at large. I'm very excited to see what happens there
Yeah.
because it allows communities who have a store of value to be able to actually decide how to manage that in a way that isn't centralized and in a way that is, in many ways, more secure and protected and democratized, and among many other things. So, going back to Alien Worlds, I'm just very excited about being able to invite our community to come and be a part of this process. And if you're listening and you've heard of it, but you're a little timid because you don't know, we're going to be here with you every step of the way to help educate, to and help encourage. And I encourage anyone who's even just curious to come and partake because you'll learn along the way. We'll be here to help you, and you'll be making a little piece of technological blockchain and gaming history when you do that, because this is the first time that anything quite like this has ever happened. And so I encourage anyone who's interested to come take part in it in whatever way you feel comfortable. Reach out for help or information if that's what you need to move forward. And yeah, we just invite everybody to come and be a part of this process because it's very exciting.
Is there a way, Stacey, that people can kind of look at what proposals are being put forward in the DAOs, and is it quite transparent in terms of what's happening there, and that because people are asking questions about like gameplay and things like this, and that's what we're talking about here, that these DAOs could in the future bring more gameplay. But what kind of timeline are we talking about here? I guess is a question on
Sure. Well,
when we would see the
the
first roots of these things.
right. So the first step along the way is going to be basically us opening up for governance, which that's inviting the community to come again, decide if managing a DAO's treasury is something that they would like to take part in, not just managing it, but sending those resources to a recipient for a very specific reason. That's where the proposals come in. That's essentially how the resources are allocated, is through proposals, and those proposals are basically voted on by the council and the custodians for each planet. And if they pass by a certain consensus, then that those resources get sent to the recipient in the proposal, and that can be utilized for whatever purpose the community wants. But the first process and all of that is not live yet. So that is
Mhm.
very soon to come. And what will be happening first is educating people on the process of running for governance. What does that mean? How do you do it? Where can you go? All of those things we will be basically, we've been working on them for quite some time. Very soon we will be opening that up to the public. That includes the education, where you can go to do that, what you need to do with your tokens to do that, and that whole process. So we'll be seeing certainly a proliferation of things around how to get involved in that way, that will kind of be the first wave. And then that will lead into the actual elections, selecting of the custodians to run each of the planets. And then from there, once that happens, then they can start basically writing proposals for how to allocate those resources. And once that happens, that's happening completely separate from Alien Worlds. At
Yeah,
that point, it's just the tools and the mechanisms that we've created are going live and are being utilized, but it's really by the community.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I get it. It's kind of like you've got to let the genie out the bottle first, and then we'll see what happens. Really, right? Like that kind of what I took from that. And I think it's because
Yeah.
we're getting questions about gameplay and stuff like that. So I'm trying to make people understand that it's coming, and it's, again, like we said, we had the word patience is needed. You know, it's not so fast that you can just come with these things. And I think the bottom line is here that Alien Worlds is trying to do things a little bit differently, and that you could probably just bring in a PvP play mode if you wanted to, but the focus is actually elsewhere, and the focus is in the longevity of the platform. So yeah, some interesting questions flying around, so I thought we'd try and answer those. I got a question early doors actually, and it's a really simple question from one of our watchers. Can we buy Alien World NFTs on BNB chain? Yes or no?
I would imagine you could. The way that we offer our NFTs is certainly through playing the missions game. So that
Yeah.
is as far as what our project offers, and as far as how you can get missions NFTs or BNB NFTs from us, that is through the process of playing the missions game where you lock up your Trillium, which you'd have on BNB, you'd have your BNB version, and you would get more Trillium and NFTs in return. I would imagine that there are, a number of platforms or marketplaces out there. We don't generally, we would certainly much rather send people to our platform to get them organically. But I would
Yeah.
imagine that those are certainly out there if that's what somebody's
It would make
looking
sense.
for.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, it would make perfect sense. But as you say, it's better for them to go to the marketplace, your marketplace, which is what the better way to do things, I guess. So yeah. All right, cool. So we are coming to the end of the session, Stacey. I just want to say thank you, number one, because you've answered all of these tricky questions that I've thrown at you pretty nicely as well. But the last thing I'm going to say is, where can people, if they've got more questions and they want to throw them out there at you, where can people connect with Alien Worlds? Is it Twitter? Is it Discord? Is it TikTok? Where's the place? Where can they talk to you?
Yeah, so you named a few of them already. Our Discord channel, our Telegram channel, our Twitter channel, certainly. We also have Facebook, Reddit, and we have a number of great shows that we host on our Twitch channel as well. So sometimes we have like monthly recaps. We'll have interviews with community members as well as team members that are working on different parts of the project that come and share a little bit about that. So we have a show called Alien Worlds Live. We just finished our first season recently. Keep a lookout for our second season. That's often a place where you'll get some of those little bits of news, updates, again, insights into, we'll interview our chief engineer or one of our designers or somebody who's a community strategist and things like that. And so you get a lot of interesting insights into what's happening. And since it's a very dynamic project, it's fun to see what's going on through all of our team members' eyes. But yes, our socials, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, certainly a great place to start. Keep an eye out for Alien Worlds Live and other shows on our Twitch. And please reach out with comments or questions. I see tons here in the sidebar. So I hope to see some of these questions come back up again in our chat. And thank you to everyone for taking the time to comment and ask those questions.
Whole ton of questions here. Yeah, just I mean, these are the kind of things that people want to know, and we kind of touched on a lot of the big points here today as well. But obviously, we can't talk about everything. It would be here all day, Stacey, which would also be cool. But we have lives to live, right? So and work to do, as we spoke about as well. So, any last shout, Stacey? Maybe just a thank you to the community of both DappRadar and Alien Worlds today. Just any last final shout outs?
Yes, absolutely. I was just going to say, I think it's wonderful that DappRadar, that you guys are hosting this event. This is another great part of community engagement and also education that's very important in this space. And
Yeah.
so we thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of this. And we're truly honored to be a part of this space. We're truly honored to be recognized by you and your community as well. And certainly a shout out to my own Alien Worlds team, who are constantly hard at work on a number of different developments. So for all of you out there whose questions we didn't answer about upcoming games and things, we have our whole team working on that and working very hard and tirelessly every day. So a shout out to the entire team. It's a huge group effort. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of what we've done. Honored to be a part of the space, and again, honored to be on this show with you guys. And wish you the very best of good fortune with the rest of this week. We'll
Yeah.
all be watching and supporting you and the other projects that are featured as well.
That's it. We got a crazy week this week, but one of the, I don't think I said it this on this show, but one of the really strong reasons for doing this, Stacey, is that people, you can go on DappRadar and you can scroll through lists of dapps, right? And you can see Alien Worlds and you can see all these titles. It can be a little bit abstract for people. They kind of see it, they don't really get it, and they don't really have the inclination to try. So one of the most important things about these sessions, and I think we've nailed it today, is kind of letting people understand who works at these companies, who are the people driving these things forward, and and kind of picking up on attitude and other things. And that's what this is all about, like, because it's about people, right? Like, we're the people who are kind of pushing this whole thing, so people need to know who we are. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. It's been another cool session. We've got another session tomorrow. Who have we got tomorrow? Axie Infinity tomorrow, Vulcanverse on Thursday, and Blockchain Brawlers on Friday. It's going to be a one hell of a week. So don't forget to, we're back tomorrow, 3 p.m. You'll be here with me and I'll be with Axie Infinity tomorrow. So you can, and also don't forget, guys, head on over to DappRadar/DappDays and you get the info about the giveaways that we're doing. So $2,000 worth of TLM up for grabs, not to be turned. Don't turn your nose up at that. Get on over there, answer that simple question, and you might be a lucky winner. Who knows? All right. Thank you very much, Stacey. Again, thank you for your time. Really, really enjoyed today's chat. It's been very cool. And for everyone listening, thank you. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day.